Well, it's been a minute since we've uploaded any content on this channel, and I thought the Xbox Showcase was actually a perfect opportunity to inject some life back into here. With Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater, a game I'm actually quite excited about. I am cautiously optimistic, but I'm still excited, if that makes any sense. I'm cautiously optimistic because there's a part of me wondering if it's just a new skin and they're not really adding anything to it, and maybe that's enough. Maybe that's adequate and that's all we need. We just want it to look updated. And I get that. Without further preamble, let's just watch this and see how we feel about it.
Flying over Pakistan, altitude 30,000 feet. Approaching Soviet airspace.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yask in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back.
I love that music so much by Harry Gregson Williams.
Your codename for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. The clock is ticking. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's specialty.
I remember that.
Weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment.
There's the voice.
Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Oh, wow.
Freeze. Speak.
Oh, we need this. Look how good this looks. Boss. You know,
Commencing virtuous mission now.
you know, I actually looked up to see if there were any mods that you could do for Metal Gear Solid 5, because I will still go back and play that game. I've looked up to see if there were mods so that I could replace Kiefer Sutherland's voice with David Hayter. Just because, like, that's the voice. Whether you think it's cheesy or not, like, that's the voice. I would buy MGS5 without any updates at all, except for David Hayter's voice. I would pay full price for that, honestly. But anyway, that's a total aside. We're talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta here. I've played reskinned games before, and there's always this weird feeling of, like, it looks new, but it's like it's got a facelift, but the mechanics, the body of it still feels older. I'm hoping that that's not going to negatively impact the experience with this. I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 3 in a very long time. I'm hoping that the mechanics of it still hold up, because, you know, with each iteration of Metal Gear Solid, it got better and better and better, to the point that it felt, for me, it felt weird to go back to an earlier game. It's like I still held it in, like, this nostalgic high regard, but it was hard for me to go back and pick up the controller again the same way as if I was playing it for the first time. I'm genuinely hoping that when I play this, it's just fun, you know, and it doesn't feel like clunky and older. Years ago, for those of you that did not own a GameCube, they did Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. And so what they did was they gave you an updated version of Metal Gear Solid 1, but they injected some of the quality of Metal Gear Solid 2 into it, and the mechanics and everything. But the thing is, at its heart, the design of the game was still Metal Gear Solid 1. And there were some awkward things that it's like it just didn't, it was incongruent, you know? When you're fighting a Revolver Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 1, there's this sort of limitation to how you can aim at him, and that introduces a certain level of challenge in the game. In Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, you have your POV gunshot thing, which was not available to you in the first game. And as a result, it's so much easier to beat Revolver Ocelot in The Twin Snakes. And so I'm wondering what they're doing to update this in a way that can have it compete with other games that are coming out right now. It's already got my money. Apprehension and all, it's already got my money. But this is me hoping that, you know, this sells well enough that Konami's like, maybe we can pay David Hayter enough money, you know, to stop writing and filmmaking for a minute so he can go and voice the voice he should have done to begin with. You know, at the very least, okay, I'm about to spoil Metal Gear Solid 5. If you haven't played it, this is the time to tune out. At the very least, if they could pay David Hayter to voice the actual big boss at the end of MGS 5, that would be something. The fact that, you know, the voices weren't different, it was Kiefer Sutherland all the way through and through, that pissed me off. It's like, okay, come on, dude. There were some moments while watching this that it felt like there was some frame rate stuff. And I've noticed that with every single Metal Gear Solid Delta commercial that they've put out, the cutscenes look great. The cutscenes are beautiful. Seeing Naked Snake updated to look more, just more, you know what I mean? Because he didn't look terrible at the time it came out on PS2. And if you look at it now, it's still cool, but it's just obviously there's a lot more going on. There's a lot more detail. It's definitely closer to lifelike. And I appreciate all of that. It looks so good. It's that sometimes during the gameplay, it looked like there were frame rate issues. And I'm like, okay, I hope that goes away. I hope that there's like a 60 FPS option. I hope that there's a 60 FPS option there, just to play it, you know, as smooth as possible. But like during the combat scenario, which all looked very exciting, by the way, like right there, I don't know. It goes back and forth. Like obviously that looks fantastic. You know, this looks good. To me, it looks like 30 FPS, and I'm just really hoping that they have a 60 FPS option. This part right here where Snake is running, it has the feeling of an older game. Does that make any sense? Am I talking crazy? Like that, when I see that, it has the feeling of that feels like a game I played of Hideo Kojima's from, you know, the earlier 2000s or something. You just look at the way Snake runs in MGS 5. There's like there's a ferociousness to it. It kind of resembles Gears of War or something, you know. There's a speed to it, and he's running away from a helicopter or whatever. It's not the same. It's not like you're in the control of it and you're moving him. There's just little moments here and there where I'm like, it feels like an older game. And so I think you just have to sort of accept that going into it, and it'll probably make it more enjoyable. I'm wondering how it's going to be for audiences who have never touched Metal Gear Solid. You know, is it going to be able to compete with other games, or is this just for the nostalgia, for the people who played this when they were younger and they want to revisit it? The details, okay, this is the stuff I was talking about, where like the frame rate when he's tossing him, doing some CQC here, like that right there, there's something like it's skipping frames or something. But the rain as it's bouncing off of his head, as it's bouncing off of their bodies, is such a fun little detail. It's right there. It's bouncing off of his back. This guy, can I go slow? Like, I love these details of, you know, I remember when you played Metal Gear Solid 2 for the first time, there was like all this rah-rah over the ice. Because like if the ice cubes were closer together, they melted slower. If you played the tanker mission, you know what I'm talking about. Little things like that I always appreciate because it's stupid but cool. Like I think it just makes it look more, you know. Anyway, I enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys did too. And let me know your feelings in the comments below. How do you feel about this latest trailer? Thanks so much for hanging. Peace out.